Welcome everybody. Today we are going to learn normal test or dead test. So before going to start normal test, let us know what are the conditions for hypothesis test. For any hypothesis test, we have to follow some condition which are very important because statistical many analyses they follow some condition or which are known as assumption. So first condition for hypothesis test, sample observation must be independent. So we are taking the sample from the data for survey or some other thing. The observations we are taking should be independent. This is very important condition for hypothesis test. Second one, we are taking the sample data. It may be with replacement or without replacement. So with replacement, that is, we are taking the sample observation and again going to put the data in the population. This is the without replacement. For without replacement, with replacement. But without replacement, that is, you are taking the data and you are not going to bag the data in the population. This is the without replacement. For with replacement, no problem. You can take any number of data from the population. But if you took the sample without replacement, that is, you are taking the sample, not going to back it to the population, then your sample size should be less than 10% of the population. It's very important as an assumption. You cannot take more than 10% sample from the population if you took the data without replacement. For with replacement, there is no assumption. You can take as many as you want. But without replacement, it should be less than 10% of the population. And another very important assumptions, if you data from where you're taking the data is skewed, very skewed. Skewed means it may be right tail or left tail. Right tail data, when the tail on the right side, that is most of the data taking lower values, and left tail data, tail on the left side, that is most of the data taking the higher values. So when the data is skewed, your sample size should be more than 30 or equal 30 sometime, but better more than 30. For skewed data, we have to take the more than 30 sample data from the population. So these are the very important condition for hypothesis test. So one is independent, that is data should be independent. Second one, if you took the sample without replacement, we have to take not more than 10% of the population. And third one, for skewed data, that is right tail or left tail, we have to take sample size more than 30. So these are the very important assumptions before going to hypothesis test. Now let us go, what is normal test or Z test? For normal test, you know, for normal distribution, the curve should be symmetric. So when the data is symmetric or coming from the normal distribution, if you draw the curve, then you can use the normal or Z test. Same thing for the normal test, data should be, the sample size should be more than 30. And one of the important assumptions for normal distribution, population variance, that is denoted by sigma square, is generally known. That it should be known. When you are going from where you are taking a sample, from which population you are taking the sample, you should know the variance of that population. This is very important assumptions or condition for the normal distribution. And if you took the different sample, the sample to different sample, the variance of the sample should be the same. If you took the two sample, it is better if they have same variance. And you have to select the sample randomly from the population. And if you took the two sample, it is better if they have same size. It may be different size, but better to same size. So for normal distribution, we learn that is the sample size should be greater than 30 and the variance of the population should be known. And if you took the two sample from two different population, it is better to they have almost same. Same doesn't mean equal, almost same variance. and we select the sample randomly, and for two samples better have the same size for two sample. Okay, these are the condition for normal distribution. Now let us go in details. We learn two-tail test and one-tail test. If we do the Z test for the mean test, two-tail test, that is mu. The mean equal to not some specified value. When you want to two-tail test, that is your level of significance. You have to split two parts in two tails. In left tail, one part alpha by 2, and right tail also alpha by 2. That is, if you have level of significance 5%, that is 0.5. So each tail will have 0.25 and 0.25. That is for two tail test. This is the rule. We have to divide the level of significance in two parts. Okay, for two tail test. And for the one tail test, it may be right tail or left tail. For the right tail test, we have a critical region where alpha will be on the right side of the graph, and for the left tail test, we have a critical region left side of the graph. And for one tail test, we don't need to split the level of significance. If level of significance 5%, so it will be the 5%. For the left tail also, for the right tail also. Just remember, for the left tail, the critical region will be left side, and for the right tail, critical region will be right side. The left tail normally Z will be the minus. For the right tail, Z will be the plus value. Okay, we'll do in details with practical example. Okay, let us go. So this is the view for the left tail test. If you have the critical region left side, the value of the P will be also fall in the critical region. If you have the right tail test, critical region alpha, value of the P also will fall in the right tail. And if you two tail test, P alpha by 2, that is alpha, our P value will fall in left side or right side, then but we have to multiply by 2. We'll do in details. Okay, let's go to practical example. So we can use t-test for different purposes in different area. One independent one sample mean test. T-test mainly used to compare the mean test, or some mean value will be given. We can test whether it is right or wrong, or whether it is take the same value. This is called independent one sample mean test. There is only one sample, and we can verify whether the sample mean is right or wrong. Okay. And another important second one, independent two sample mean test. If you have the two sample from the two population, then we can find whether the two sample means are equal or not. So this is called independent two sample mean test. The two sample will be independent. Similarly, like the one sample mean test, you can do the one sample proportion test or percentage test. So it is very important also. Say somebody, 50% of the population, people drink tea. That is 0.5 proportion of people drink tea. So we can verify this proportion or percentage. So this is called single proportion test. And number 4, another one, difference of proportion. Similarly, like the independent two sample mean test, we can test whether the proportion of the two population differ or not, or they are same. So this is called difference of proportion for two population. We can test. It is written detail. You can try it. So we can test for the two population, male and female, for the habit of drinking tea. That the drinking tea between the male equal to drinking tea between the female. So proportion of percentage of drinking tea, male or female, same or not, we can verify by proportion test or difference of proportion test by Z test. Okay. And another important area where we can use the t-test, that is called dependent Z test or peer sample test. That is, we can take the data from the same sample but twice. That is, suppose the weight of person before and after doing some exercise or taking some medicine or doing some diet. So same person, we're taking their weight before the exercise suppose 10% we are taking their weight before the exercise and after the exercise, or maybe before diet or after the diet. So this is called independent Z test. So they are normally called match or pair. Okay, there should be pair data coming from the same source but twice. This is called pair, or maybe pre or post test. When data coming before, it is called pre, or after, it is called post. So we can use also T Z for the dependent or pair sample test. Now let us go more details about the Z test or normal test. I told before, normal test also known as Z test. Okay. So first of all, let us try one sample Z test for population mean. As I told, for the normal distribution, you should know the standard deviation of variance before, and the sample should be larger than 30 or equal 30, but better more than 30. This is the rule for one sample Z test. Let us do one example. Before going to the example, I told you that there are 5 steps for hypothesis test. First of all, you have to state the hypothesis, null hypothesis, alternate hypothesis. For one sample Z test, we have to null hypothesis H0, that is mu equal to mu 0. That is mu is taking some value, we are agree, and alternative hypothesis we are not agree. That is 2 sample, it is not equal. If you say one tail test, that is greater, it may be more than, it may be less than. Okay, and we can find the test. And second, we have to fix level of significance. Second step. Third step, we have to calculate the value of test statistics by this formula x bar. X bar is the sample mean from the sample we get, minus mu, that is will be given in the population. Okay, and sigma is the variance of the population, and divided by root over n. Root over n is sample size. Okay, this is the formula for test statistics for one sample mean test. Then you have to find the critical region if conventional level, or you can do the p-value. And if and how can we find the critical region? Critical region for the 2 tests will do. It will be more better when we will have the practical example. Okay. For 2 tests, normally critical value is greater than positive value. This is a normal. And for the right tail, critical region is the greater than of the tabulated value, and for the left tail, it is less than tabulated value. We can also do the p-value, we'll do in details. And if the value of Z fall in the critical region, we reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative. This is the last one, conclusion, and 4.1 is the critical region. We'll do more details with example. Okay, this is the just some format how to do the one sample Z test. Okay. And if you follow, as I told, we can do also critical region. Also, we can do the p-value. We can, for the number 4 step, we can use the p-value approach. You got some value of Z, and p-value will be 2 multiply Z greater than of that value, positive value. Okay. In R, I saw in R how can you get 2 multiply 1 minus a p norm and the value of positive value of Z. If you do like that in R programming, you can do it. And Excel, how can you get the value of p-value? 2 multiply as it is greater than 1 minus normal distribution of value of Z and true. We'll do in the Excel. I'll show how to do easily in Excel to find p-value. Okay. And also from table, you can also find it. Okay. From table also easily you can find the p-value for Z test. Okay. Easily you can find. And if it is a one tail test greater than right tail, or p-value will be probabilities that it will be greater than a positive value of Z. That is we got. That is we got any value we got. It will be in R we can find like that. Okay, 1 minus, that is p norm. This is we can get, or in the Excel I can got like that, 1 minus p norm is a value of Z and true. Okay. For the left tail test, if the alternate hypothesis less than, mean is less than some value, we can get the p-value like this. Okay, p probability Z less than the value with test statistics. In R, it will be p norm directly. Okay, for less than, you can get very easily p norm of the value of this. And Excel also you can get normal. If we do in Excel, norm standard deviation value of true, we put the true. We can get easily for the p-value by Excel. We'll do in the example. Okay. And interesting is that If you use the statistical package SPSS or R, you want to fit some model, it will, you don't need to calculate p-value, it will come automatically to you. So p-value is more convenient. You can get from some statistics directly. You don't need to calculate. Okay. And if your p-value is less than the alpha, that is your level significant, it is very unlikely or very less chance to obtain better result. So if your p-value is less than alpha, you have, it is very unlikely, less chance to get that better result than your test statistic. That is, that will go in favor of your alternative hypothesis. And that is opposite. If p-value, therefore, p-value less than alpha, we reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative. So remember that p-value less than alpha, that is never significant, we reject the null hypothesis. Always, so very easy to understand, only one thing. Okay. Some value, if you use the conventional method, please try to remember this table. Normally standard is 5% or 1%. Better to remember these two value. For two-tail value of Z is 1.96 for 5%, plus it may be plus or minus. For 1% it will be 2.576 or 2.58. For right tail, it is a plus value 1.6. For right tail, the value of 5% will be 1.645 or 1.65. It will be 2 decimal. And for the 1% or 0.01, it will be 2.2326 or 2.33. And just for the left tail, take the minus value. Okay, this is the tabulated value for the Z. If you use the conventional critical reason method, okay, we'll do example. It will be more easier to you.